Everybody, it's Jeff from the Great Heights and Barely Controlled Chaos. We're going out to the chicken coop, or not the chicken coop, we're going out to the goat pen because we're going to move them down into the new area. They got grass. They ate all the grass. It's harder to guide a wheelbarrow with one hand than you might think. Anyway, they ate up all the grass in the area where they were, so we're going to give them a new, move them to the next spot. And then, yeah, it's going to be a fun day. You can see it looked just like this, except without the trees, obviously, the other day, and now it looks like this. This is 2 days, maybe 2.5 days, maybe, worth of eating for the goats. So all I'm going to do is just take the fence posts out on this side and that one over there. Excuse me, pointing, you can't see, there's a fence post over there. And then I'm just going to swing the fence around backwards and put it, just basically turn it inside out, and then put them right here in this area. Lots of shade, lots of stuff to eat, and then the kids will probably have to move them down there. I'm not sure if the kids are going to move them down there or not, or if they're going to start putting them up here. Obviously, you have to worry about, the traffic and stuff like that. So it's kind of going to be up to them. I'm going to make my suggestions, and then they can do what they want to do. So let's talk about perspective and some stuff like that for a minute. I'm about to do the most dangerous part, obviously, and by dangerous, I mean because the road is right there, and the goats are stupid sometimes. They walk down there. But perspective, that's where I was going. One of my sons, my older sons, who is still living with us at the moment, calls goat fence building light. Now, my children who don't live with us anymore would probably disagree with that. I'm trying to do two things at once here. Because when we had goats in New York, they were very, very troublesome. These goats, we can barely sling a fence together, and it seems to work for them. Whereas our goats in New York, it seemed like no matter what we did, they always managed to escape. So it's all about perspective, based on the difference between goat fencing and pig fencing. And I think that's really where the difference comes in. So just let these guys out. They're going to go graze in this field over here while we, really, why are you doing that? Go through the big hole in the fence, not through the holes in the fence. Anyway, but yeah, it's all about perspective. Goats are much easier to build fences for than pigs. And we were trying to do something, if you go back and look at some of our videos, we were using like a woven wire fence, or not even a woven wire fence. We were using a fence, welded wire fence, and it wasn't anywhere near as strong, and they would push through it, versus this, which is obviously cow paneling, and it's much sturdier and stronger than anything we used before. So yeah, again, perspective. Hey, goats. I've actually had to do more fence building than I normally do when I'm moving the goats, because first of all, I want the entrance up on this side, and obviously I spun it around so the two pieces together that were together as the entrance were right there. And then this piece right over here was actually kind of badly put together, and I don't know why it was, but it kind of overlapped, which made making a turn there difficult. So I had to fix that. But again, talking about perspective, part of the things that makes what we were doing there different than what we were doing here is that here we're doing a mobile fence. We're actually doing rotational grazing. So we had them there, we had them down past that tree. We're going to have them up there next week sometime, and then we'll have them out back again. Whereas in New York, when we had our goats there, we were actually moving them, or we weren't moving them around. They had a permanent pen and then we would let them out to graze every day versus what they're doing now. Trip out to the goats without taking a look at the new babies. Oh, put that one down. Got this one up here. Look at that. Blue-eyed goat. Beautiful. Both of them are boys. Got 2 blue-eyed goats. I think this one's blue-eyed too. I think it is. Nope, this one's brown-eyed. Yeah, 2 little boys. There you go, Mama. I'll put them down. She got very upset with me when I picked them up. I needed to move them because hiding in the bottom of this thing, and I got to pull this thing in here. So, yeah, I had to get them moved. They're happy again with Mom. They're doing. Talking about how they did. You can see this is the area that they were in. This took a little less than a week, just about a week to get these 2 areas done, plus the area up at the top. That was just a little over a week total. You can already see that some of the green stuff is coming back, which is great. They eat it right down to just the hard stuff that they don't like. And then the green stuff will grow back nice. And it does. The nice thing is that they kill these trees because they strip them bare. So they're dead, and we'll get the tractor up here to mow those down and just get rid of it because they're obviously trash. But yes, so they do a really good job on this. About perspective, part of the perspective thing is just understanding the difference in what we were doing versus what we are doing. In New York, like I said, we had a permanent pen, and we let them out to graze every day, usually in the mornings and afternoons. I'd let them out before work, and then when I came home in the evening, we'd let them out for another hour or so. Here, obviously, we're doing some rotational grazing. Like I said, I do let them out to graze. Not as frequently as I would like, not every day, but every other day probably. And then I put them in there and have them rotationally graze that area. But they're getting fresh grass and fresh stuff to eat every couple of days, which is, obviously what they need. So that's really, one of the big differences there. Like I said, the fence in New York was not built as well and was subpar materials. This is just cattle panel, so it's not fancy. It's just sturdier. So when we go out to put a fence up for the goats, basically all we've got to do is just put the cattle panel up and then put a few posts, basically just to hold the cattle panel up. Versus pigs, we got to put enough posts in, at least 2 per panel. And yeah, it's trickier. And yeah, there's just some differences there. But like I said, the difference is at that point, goats were our biggest animals. We were running chickens and goats, and the goats were our biggest problem. Now we've got pigs, which are our biggest animals at the moment, and they're the bigger problem. Where our goats, we go slap a fence together and we're all done. But anyway, so that's it. But I've been traveling down memory lane a lot lately, so apologize for that. If you want to go see some of our older videos, I'll try to link them as I set this video up. So if you want to go see some of those troubles that we used to have with the goats in New York. So, all right, if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you next time.